Good afternoon. Our lecture for this afternoon would be on solid and hazardous waste management. Key concepts for this lecture would be looking at the types and amounts of waste, how to prevent waste, methods of dealing with waste, and hazardous waste regulation. So India is one of the top producers of waste, generating roughly 1.43 lakh tons of solid waste per day in 2015. Maharashtra alone would generate over 26,000 tons of solid waste per day. And among the high solid waste producers would be Bengal, UPTN, and Andhra. 78% of sewage remains untreated, and more than 15,000 tons of plastic waste is generated in India per day. Of this, 6,000 tons remain uncollected and littered. So, India generates 1.7 tons of e-waste in 2014. So, in Delhi alone, almost 60 to 75% of recyclable waste consists of plastic. As mentioned, it's the #1 waste producer in the world. More than 1.3 billion people in India would generate the highest amount of waste in the world. That's more than China, the most populous country. But per capita waste production by both India and China at present is a small fraction of that by developed countries. However, by 2050, that could change as India is projected to produce substantially more waste, whereas growth in China's waste generation will be much slower. So, furthermore, this would be India's solid waste statistics. So, annual waste would be 62 million tons. Plastic is 5.6. Biomedical waste is 0.17 million tons. Hazardous waste is 7.9 million tons. And e-waste is 1.5 million tons. So, there are rules in solid waste management. So, in 2016, rules of which are brought about by the Ministry of Environment, Forests, and Climate Change. So, they had notified that plastic, e-waste, biomedical hazardous, and construction and demolition waste management tools. So these rules, hotels and restaurants should segregate biodegradable waste and set up a system of collection to ensure that such food waste is utilized for composting and biomethanation. So associations and gated communities with an area of greater than 5,000 square meters should segregate waste and hand over recyclable material to either authorized waste pickers or the authorized recycles or to the urban local body. Biodegradable waste should be processed, treated, and disposed of through composting on biomethanation within the premises as far as possible. Street vendors should keep suitable containers for storage of waste. High calorific waste shall be used for co-processing in cement or thermal power plants. Developers of industrial estate, industrial park to embark at least 5% of the total area of the plot or minimum of 5 plots for recovery and recycling facility. You manufacture disposable products such as tin, glass, and plastic. Provide necessary financial assistance to local authorities for the establishment of waste management system. Companies that sell products in non-biodegradable packaging material should put in place a system to collect back the packaging waste generated through their production. All such manufacturers, brand owners, or marketing companies should educate the masses for wrapping and disposal of their products. Construction and demolition waste should be stored separately and disposed of. So these are the different waste disposal methods. most of which would still be land disposal. Some would utilize combustion, composting, and recycling, getting more fair share of the bulk of waste disposal methods come year 2000. So what's in our trash? Our trash is usually made of paper, yard waste, metals, and other products. And these are produced per person per day and really could accumulate, especially in India where population is at its billion. So for example, this is waste disposal classification. So training is given to an A&M worker. Now you have to check her ability to do immunization. You are the medical officer. She's having cotton, lunchbox, and syringe needle after immunization of the child. Which of the following is true? Your syringe with needle in translucent white container. Used vial in translucent white container. Cotton swab in yellow bag. And food waste in blue box. So actually, this is an actual question in your FMGE examination. So you have to familiarize yourselves with these questions. To answer this question, you have to know the waste disposal classification in India. So what goes into the yellow bag are anatomical waste, animal waste, soiled waste, medicines, chemical waste, microbiologic waste, bed linen, and mattresses. Your sharps go to the white box, your glassware and metal implants go to the blue box, and any contaminated material would go into your red box or red colored trash bags. So to answer this question, your syringe with needle in translucent white container does not go into your white container. It's supposed to go into your yellow because it has plastic waste. Use vial in translucent white container is also wrong because it's supposed to go in a blue container because vial would be glass. Cotton swab in yellow bag, that's soiled material, so this is the correct answer. Your food waste is an ordinary and not a biomedical waste such that it's disposed in the usual way that we dispose of our solid waste. So what can we do to reduce solid waste? We refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Or we could rent, borrow, or barter goods and services such that we decrease our carbon footprint. So to produce less waste, we could have waste management. This is your high waste approach. We bury, we burn, or ship our waste produced, or waste prevention, low waste approach, and use, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So to deal with material use and waste, so this would be our first priority. So primary pollution and waste prevention, and these are the following strategies. Second priority would be your secondary pollution and waste prevention. And last priority would be waste management. Treat waste to reduce toxicity, incinerate waste, bury waste, and release waste into environment for dispersal or dilution. So you could see that the analogy would be your primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. So first priority would be prevention. Secondary would be screening, meaning we prolong the lives by reusing and repairing the products, and tertiary would be treatment of your waste. Solutions would be a cleaner production, so eco-industrial revolution, resource exchange web, so waste from one industry may be raw material for another, biomimicry, so in nature there's no wastage, and service flow economy. So this is an example of an industrial ecosystem in Denmark. So your electric power plant, waste would be heat, it would go to your greenhouses. Heat could also go to your oil refinery, which would eventually produce natural gas, which would go back to your electronic power plant. Would produce sulfur and would be a sulfuric acid producer, would go into your different wallboard factory, area homes. Heat would go to fish farming. Heat would go to your pharmaceutical plant. Your sludge would then go to your local farmers. Your fish farming will also produce sludge, which would then be fertilizers for your local farmers. So we recycle our waste and then utilize it for other industries, and that's how we reduce wastage. So we could also sell services instead of things. So this would be your service flow economy, use of minimum amount of material such as photocopy services, make products that last longer, and products which are easier to maintain, repair, and recycle. Example would be the carpet tiles as opposed to your traditional carpets, and eco-leasing. Reusing would mean extending resource supplies, would eventually save energy and money, reduce pollution, would eventually create jobs, and reuse products. So for recycling, aluminum cans could be used once, steel can could be used once, and other recycled steel cans, glass drink bottles, recycled aluminum cans, glass drink bottles, refillable drink bottle, which could be used 10 times, would conserve a lot of energy and a lot of waste. So characteristics of recyclable materials would be materials that are easily isolated from other waste, available in large quantities, and are valuable. So these are the benefits of recycling. Of course, with reduce energy demand, reduce water pollution, air pollution, reduce our solid waste production, reduce mineral demand, would protect species, would protect their habitats, save energy, so reduce air pollution, acid deposition, reduce global warming, and makes our fuel last longer. So it is important to do recycling and make it our advocacy. So waste paper and plastics. So chlorine-based compound in paper production. Uh, we often recycle paper and save the trees. Plastics, less than 10% of recycling because plastics can be very difficult to recycle. Although with technology, it is getting easier and it is facilitated through the use of newer technology which make plastics more easy to recycle. So burning wastes is one of the methods that we could use to decrease solid waste production. Mass burn incineration, although we have trade-offs, it would be air pollution. Benefits would be it could be a source of energy. Waste to energy facilities could be established. Burying waste, landfills are still the most common method of waste disposal because it's cheap and convenient, although open pits are no longer acceptable. These are complex impermeable layers that trap contaminants, and daily deposits are covered by layer of dirt. So we monitor methane gas and leachate monitoring. Sanitary landfills. So this is an example of what a sanitary landfill would look like and the advantages and disadvantages as mentioned in this infographic. So there are hazardous waste regulations. So in the US, there's a regulation called Resource Conservation and Recovery. So it classifies hazardous waste according to types. So it has to contain at least one toxic compound. It catches fire easily, is reactive or explosive, and corrodes metal containers. Not hazardous waste under RCA would be radioactive waste, household waste, mining waste, oil and gas drilling waste, liquids containing organic hydrocarbons, cement kiln dust, and any less than 100 kilogram waste per month. So to deal with hazardous waste, we first produce less waste, then we convert this to less hazardous or non-hazardous substances, such as land treatment, incineration, thermal treatment, chemical, physical, and biological treatment, and ocean and atmospheric assimilation. Or put it in perpetual storage through landfills, underground injection, waste piles, surface impoundments, salt formations, and region unsaturated zones. Chemicals are everywhere, and it could be found in your cleaning materials, paint, general items such as batteries, gardening, and automotive supplies. So how do we detoxify and remove waste? So there are physical, chemical, bioremediation, phytoremediation, and plasma incineration. So we have our deep well disposal, advantages of which would be it would be a safe method if sites are chosen carefully. Waste can be retrieved if problems develop, easy to do, and low cost. Disadvantages of which would be it could leak or spill at the surface, leaks from corrosion of the well casing, existing fractures or earthquakes can allow waste to escape into the groundwater, and encourages waste production. This is an example of your hazardous waste landfill. So your surface impoundments advantages would be low construction costs, low operating costs, can be built quickly, waste can be retrieved if necessary, can store waste indefinitely with secure double liners. Disadvantages would be it being groundwater contaminant, air pollution from volatile organic compounds, overflow from flooding, disruption and leakage from earthquakes, and promotes waste production. These are the common hazardous chemicals: lead, mercury, and its effect, arsenic, and your polychlorinated biphenyls. Solutions: achieving a low waste society would be your local grassroots action, your international ban on the 12 persistent organic pollutants, and the precautionary principle. Thank you for listening to this lecture. Please do subscribe to our channel for more lectures on preventive medicine and community health 3.